We don't really talk about this enough, but some of the most exhausting moments in our day don't come from the work we do. They come from the people we deal with, the ones who test our nerves, challenge our patience, and push every button we didn't even know we had. And here's the truth: we can't control them. We can't fix their mood, their attitude, or their behavior. But we can learn to control the one thing that matters the most: our response. Today, I want to show you the real art of staying calm with difficult people. Not by being passive, not by pretending things don't bother us, but by learning how to protect our peace without losing our power. When someone speaks to us in a way that feels harsh, dismissive, or disrespectful, our first instinct is almost always reaction. It's the human default setting. A raised voice makes us raise ours. A sarcastic comment invites another one right back. It's fast, emotional, and automatic. But here's the catch: every time we react instantly, we hand over our power without even realizing it. Reacting is easy because it comes from a place of impulse. It's driven by the emotional heat of the moment, not by clarity or choice. Responding, on the other hand, comes from intention. It requires a pause. It requires awareness. And it requires the understanding that just because someone else is losing control, it doesn't mean you have to go down with them. Think about how many arguments, misunderstandings, or regrets in your life could have been avoided if you had given yourself even 2 seconds before speaking or reacting. Those 2 seconds are everything. They're the space between what someone throws at you and what you choose to do with it. And that space holds your peace, your clarity, and your power. When you respond instead of react, you're not giving the other person control over your emotions. You're saying, I'm not letting your behavior rewrite who I am. There's also something incredibly grounding about reminding yourself that not everything needs your energy. Not every rude comment deserves a comeback. Not every attitude needs to be matched. And not every emotional storm requires you to step inside. When someone is difficult, what they want, sometimes consciously, sometimes not, is for you to join their chaos. They want a reaction. They want validation for their frustration. They want someone to pull into their emotional quicksand so they're not drowning alone. But responding intentionally denies them that power. It keeps you in a place of choice instead of a place of reaction. One of the most powerful things you can ever tell yourself in moments of tension is, this is not mine. Their anger isn't yours. Their stress isn't yours. Their frustration isn't yours. And once you stop taking what isn't yours personally, you stop carrying emotional weights that were never meant for you in the first place. That's how you stay calm, not by controlling them, but by controlling what you choose to carry. Imagine someone insults you or snaps at you. A reaction is emotional reflex, the sharp comeback, the defensive tone, the need to prove a point. But a response is an intentional decision. It's you looking at the situation from a wider lens and asking, what outcome do I want here? Because most of the time, if you really think about it, you don't want an argument. You don't want tension. You don't want to walk away feeling drained. What you want is peace. Responding brings you closer to that peace, while reacting pulls you further away from it. Another key part of responding intentionally is understanding emotional triggers. We all have them. Maybe you can handle anger but not disrespect. Maybe sarcasm irritates you more than yelling. Maybe being ignored hits deeper than someone confronting you. Knowing your triggers is not a weakness. It's emotional intelligence. Because once you know what sets you off, you get to take away its power. You can notice the trigger rising, feel the reaction pulling you in, and choose to pause. That pause is the difference between escalating a situation and controlling it. Difficult people rely on your reaction to continue being difficult. It fuels them. It maintains the pattern. If someone is used to you reacting, losing your cool, or feeling provoked, your calm becomes something they can't figure out. It disarms them completely. It interrupts the cycle they're used to. And suddenly the power dynamic shifts. Calm doesn't just protect your peace, it confuses the chaos out of difficult people. There's also a psychological element at play here. When someone is difficult, they expect you to behave in a certain way because they've seen it before from you or from others. When you respond intentionally instead, you disrupt that expectation. And when people don't get the reaction they're hoping for, their behavior often changes. Not instantly, not magically, but gradually. Because no one enjoys fighting with someone who doesn't fight back. No one enjoys trying to provoke someone who stays grounded, and no one benefits from emotional manipulation when the other person refuses to be pulled in. Responding also gives you clarity. When you're calm, you see the situation for what it really is instead of what your emotions are telling you it is. You catch the patterns, the behaviors, the intentions behind the words. You start noticing what's about them rather than what feels like it's about you. This clarity protects you. It lets you decide whether to engage, set boundaries, or walk away completely. You can't make decisions like that while reacting, but you can while responding. And the beauty of responding intentionally is that it helps you grow. Every difficult person becomes a lesson instead of a drain. You start seeing challenges as reps in the emotional gym, each one making you stronger, calmer, and more capable of navigating tough situations. You become someone who isn't easily shaken, someone who remains steady in storms, someone who doesn't lose themselves just because someone else has lost control. The truth is, Calm is not something that just happens. It's something you choose. It's something you build. And it's something you practice every time you decide to respond instead of react. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it becomes who you are, not because other people are easy to deal with, but because you've mastered the art of staying grounded within yourself even when the world around you is not. Difficult people show up in our lives in so many different forms. Sometimes they're loud, sometimes passive, sometimes unpredictable, and sometimes quietly draining in a way that's hard to even explain. And it's easy to look at them and think, why is this happening to me? Or why does this person make everything so hard? But the truth is, difficult people aren't here to test how strong you are on the outside. They're here to test how disciplined you are on the inside. Your emotional discipline is what determines whether you stay grounded or get pulled into their chaos, whether you choose clarity or confusion, whether you protect your energy or let someone else drain it without permission. Strength is visible. Discipline is invisible. When someone is difficult, most people default to visible strength. They raise their voice. They push back, they defend themselves, they match the energy. It feels powerful in the moment, like you're standing up for yourself. But emotional discipline is quieter. It's subtle. It's choosing not to get provoked. It's keeping your tone steady even when someone else's isn't. It's knowing you could say something sharp, but deciding you won't. And that requires far more control than any external reaction ever will. Emotional discipline is the ability to stay connected to who you are even when someone else is trying to pull you away from yourself. Difficult people are experts at triggering emotions. They know exactly what to say, how to say it, or how to behave in a way that activates frustration, defensiveness, insecurity, or anger. And every time you respond impulsively, you reinforce their power over you. But when you choose discipline, when you choose calm, clarity, or silence, you're teaching yourself that your emotional state belongs to you, not to the person trying to provoke it. What makes emotional discipline so important is that it's not about controlling the other person, it's about controlling the impact they have on you. You can't stop someone from being rude, but you can stop their rudeness from running your day. You can't stop someone from being negative, but you can stop their negativity from planting seeds in your mind. You can't stop someone from being aggressive, but you can stop the situation from escalating by not fueling it with your own emotions, and that's what makes discipline so powerful. It breaks the cycle. Think of a difficult person as a spark. If you throw fuel on it, it becomes a fire. If you don't, it burns out. Most conflicts don't last because one person is difficult. They last because two people are reacting emotionally at the same time. If you remove your reaction from that equation, the dynamic changes instantly. You're no longer playing the game they want to play. That's emotional discipline. It's also important to understand that difficult people often behave the way they do because they lack discipline themselves. They haven't learned to regulate their emotions. They haven't learned to sit with discomfort without projecting it. They haven't learned to communicate frustration without aggression or passive behavior. And when someone lacks those skills, they can only operate at the emotional level they know. The problem is that they want to pull you down to that level too. Emotional discipline is what keeps you above it. Another part of emotional discipline is recognizing patterns. Difficult people are consistent. They repeat the same behaviors, use the same tones, follow the same emotional patterns over and over. Once you see the pattern, you stop getting surprised by it. You stop taking it personally. You realize, oh, this is just how they operate. And that realization alone reduces the emotional charge by half. Discipline isn't just about controlling your reactions. It's about understanding the situation so well that you don't need to react in the first place. But discipline also means knowing when to step back. It's knowing when the conversation is no longer productive. It's knowing when your boundary has been crossed. It's knowing when disengaging is smarter than continuing. Walking away isn't losing. It's choosing not to lose yourself. Difficult people often escalate because they expect you to stay engaged. They expect you to argue, explain, defend, or fix. When you refuse to play that role, you're practicing discipline in its strongest form. One of the deepest parts of emotional discipline is learning not to mirror the other person. We naturally mirror the energy we receive. If someone's hostile, we get tense. If someone's sarcastic, we get defensive. If someone's negative, we start feeling drained. Mirroring is automatic. Discipline is breaking that automatic response. It's choosing to show up differently than the energy being thrown at you. And when you do that, you not only protect your emotional state, you influence the entire dynamic. There's also a misconception that staying calm means letting someone walk all over you. But emotional discipline doesn't mean being silent. It means being strategic. It means saying what needs to be said without losing your composure. It means setting boundaries in a way that's firm but not reactive. It means communicating with intention instead of emotion. You're not avoiding conflict. You're approaching it with clarity instead of chaos. What makes this so challenging is that discipline isn't built in moments of calm. It's built in moments of pressure. Anyone can stay composed when everything is going well. But the real test is how you behave when someone is pushing every button you have. Your discipline shows up in the tone you choose, in the words you use, in the decisions you make, in the way you pause instead of explode, in the way you keep your emotional center even when the room feels emotionally tilted. Difficult people shine a spotlight on the parts of you that still need strengthening. If someone's impatience triggers you, it's a sign you need to work on your tolerance. If someone's rudeness provokes you, it's a sign you need to work on detachment. If someone's negativity drains you, it's a sign you need to work on emotional boundaries. Every discomfort they cause is a clue pointing to an area that needs more discipline. And when you start viewing difficult people through that lens, they stop being obstacles and start becoming mirrors. They show you what you need to refine within yourself. Over time, emotional discipline doesn't just help you manage difficult people, it makes you unshakable. You stop being affected by moods, tones, or attitudes. You stop internalizing things that aren't yours. You stop letting someone else's chaos activate your chaos. You become someone who can handle tension without absorbing it, pressure without folding, conflict without losing composure. And that is a level of self-control that most people never reach. When you master emotional discipline, difficult people stop being threats to your peace. They become reminders of your growth. And instead of thinking, why do I have to deal with this person? You start thinking, this is exactly why discipline matters. Calm isn't weakness. That's one of the biggest misconceptions people carry with them. Too often, society equates calmness with passivity, with surrender, with letting life or difficult people run over you. But the truth is, calm is strength in its purest, most refined form. Calm is not about avoiding conflict. It's about holding your center while the world around you is unraveling. Calm is about having the confidence to know exactly who you are, what you stand for, and what you will and won't tolerate, even when someone else is trying to shake you. And that kind of calm, that quiet authority is louder than any yell, more powerful than any argument, and more persuasive than any reaction. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you. Often it's not because they have the loudest voice or the most dramatic presence. It's because they carry a stillness that makes people lean in, pay attention, and respect them. Calm communicates control, not through words, but through energy. When you're calm in the face of provocation, you send a message that can't be ignored. Your peace is not negotiable, and your mind is not for sale to someone else's chaos. That energy, that presence, is the loudest form of confidence there is, because it doesn't have to shout to be heard. There's a reason calm people command attention without trying. It's because they are not easily moved by external forces. They are not swayed by insults, triggered by negativity, or derailed by emotional storms. Their reactions are measured. Their words are deliberate. Their energy is steady. And when someone difficult expects a fight and meets calm instead, it disarms them instantly. Calm is a power move disguised as stillness. It's quiet, but it carries more weight than anger or aggression ever could. Calmness also allows for clarity in a way that chaos never can. When someone is difficult, they often thrive on confusion, on tension, on emotional noise. They want the environment to feel unstable so that they can control it. But when you maintain calm, you create space for clarity. You see the situation for what it is, not what your emotions make it appear to be. You notice patterns in behavior, recognize triggers, and understand intentions. That clarity gives you an advantage that reactionary people will never have. Calmness lets you navigate difficult situations with intelligence rather than impulse, with strategy rather than emotion. Another aspect of calm as confidence is its ripple effect. When you maintain your composure, it influences everyone around you. People mirror your energy. If you are steady, those who might be tense begin to calm. If you are patient, those who are reactive begin to pause. The loudest form of confidence doesn't need an audience. It naturally reshapes the energy in the room. Difficult people may not like it because it removes their ability to provoke or manipulate. But it also elevates you because you are no longer fighting their battles on their terms. You are leading the energy, not being led by it. Calmness also requires courage. It takes courage to not react when your instincts are screaming at you to lash out, to respond impulsively, or to match someone's negativity. It takes courage to stay composed when everyone else is losing it, to stay grounded when chaos is swirling around you. That courage, coupled with calm, signals confidence in a way that aggression never can. Aggression can intimidate, but calmness commands respect. Aggression seeks to overpower. Calmness creates influence. Aggression can be loud and fleeting. Calmness is enduring and transformative. The people who embody this kind of calm understand that it is a choice, not a default. Anyone can be reactive. Reactivity requires no thought, no awareness, no effort. Calmness, on the other hand, is intentional. It's the result of self-mastery practice and a deep understanding of one's own emotional landscape. It's the knowledge that your response has more value than your reaction, that your energy is precious, and that giving it away impulsively only serves someone else's agenda. The decision to remain calm in the face of difficulty is a declaration of power. You control yourself, your emotions, and your impact regardless of external circumstances. Calmness is also deeply connected to resilience. Life is full of difficult people, challenging situations, and unexpected obstacles. Calm people don't let these things break them. They don't allow others' negativity to infiltrate their mindset. They don't lose themselves when the room feels chaotic. Their resilience is rooted in their ability to remain calm, to assess situations with detachment, and to act from a place of centered confidence. Every challenge becomes manageable because they have learned to maintain their equilibrium in the storm. Calmness is resilience manifested in behavior. Furthermore, calmness opens the door to deeper understanding and better solutions. When you're calm, you listen more effectively, process information more clearly, and make decisions that are thoughtful rather than reactive. Difficult people often present complex emotional challenges, but calmness allows you to step back and see solutions that are invisible to those who are emotionally hijacked. Calmness is not passivity, it is active intelligence, applied in the most strategic and powerful way. Calm people also model a standard for others. By showing that composure is possible even under pressure, they set the tone for interactions. Teaching others, consciously or unconsciously, how to behave, they raise the bar for respect, patience, and communication simply by holding themselves steady. Their confidence doesn't need to be announced because it's demonstrated through consistent, unshakable behavior. Calmness becomes contagious, and over time, difficult people are forced to adjust or reveal the limits of their influence. Lastly, calmness is the loudest form of confidence, is a gift to oneself. It preserves your mental energy, protects your emotional health, and strengthens your sense of self-worth. It prevents you from wasting time and energy